Yep.
And a lot of mainstream artists are a good example of that.
For sure.
Let's see. So, did you ever make a conscious? I guess since Rapzilla posted a song of yours, you might have just were like, "This is where I'm going." But did you ever make a conscious decision to be like, "I'm gonna join CHH. Like, I'm gonna call myself a Christian hip hop artist," or did it just kind of happen?
Oh man, no, I guess it just kind of happened.
Mhm.
I knew at like a pretty young age, I knew like I'm gonna make music the rest of my life. Like that's what I'm gonna do. I didn't know always like what that was gonna look like.
Right.
I've always wanted to be a producer, and it's what I want to go to university for. So I might end up being in the background just producing for different genres. I don't know.
Right.
But because I was rapping and I'm rapping at the time, and it's faith-based rap, I kind of just landed in the box of Christian hip hop, which I love. It's an amazing community. But I don't know if I ever was like, oh, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? I just love making music, and I cater to the fans that enjoy it. So
See, it's funny because we're the same in some ways and different in other ways. Like, so when you started way younger than me, but when I started, I'm one of the people in Christian hip hop who I'm in the minority because I didn't know what Christian hip hop was until 2015. No, wait, honestly, probably later, probably like 2016, 17. Because I knew who Lecrae was and I knew certain names, but I didn't know there was a genre called Christian hip hop. I just knew about gospel music, and I knew gospel rap was a thing, and I knew that I wasn't gonna do that because that's very specifically, specific content wise. So when I heard like Christian hip hop was a thing, I had to make a concerted effort to be like, I wasn't never making secular music, but I could go from I'm making this music and just kind of giving it out to everybody, and instead of that, I want to now join this community of Christian hip hop and now label myself a Christian hip hop artist. I kind of wish I had known about it sooner. It would have made my life a little easier. But we all got here somehow. So speaking of that, the way you and I met is through Fivetwenty Collective. And so for those of you that don't know, Fivetwenty Collective is run by Eric Boston and Nate Shelton.
Mm-hmm.
And they run this little indie, I shouldn't say little, this indie artist website, blog, radio, podcast, everything. Everything. And it's crazy because I did my little story talking about how when I first tried to submit to Rapzilla, they didn't accept it. And early on, you kind of get discouraged and you're like, well, who's going to listen? And I talked about how there's all these little indie and like smaller blogs and websites and media that support indie artists that aren't necessarily like signed to Reach or whatever. And Bookkeeper, who I'm doing this podcast for, this show for, is one of them. And Fivetwenty is the other one. And I was like one of the first people that was like, I want to be part of this. Let me be in the group chat and everything. And I saw you put up in it one day. How did you find Fivetwenty?
I think they found me. I'm trying to remember. I mean, you know me, I'm always like on Twitter messing around.
Right.
I bet like I think Eric or Nate, one of them just probably hit me up and was like, yo, I saw your stuff on Rapzilla or whatever. We have this group. I remember like being in one of the group messages early on, and that was where I met you. I think I met Next Mike in one of those groups, and we ended up building a cool relationship. A bunch of different like artists that I've just gotten the chance to know, collaborate with. And then, like those dudes themselves are just super genuine, like amazing, like really want to see indie artists thrive. And so it was kind of like my first home, really.
Really, bro. And I'm with that. That's why. So you're the second indie artist. You're actually the second artist from Fivetwenty that I've interviewed out of my 2 interviews. And I feel like it's important to focus on indie artists because it's like, there's always going to be a ton of focus on the signed artists because they're bigger, they've made it. But it's like, how do you get from like, let's just say one of me or you like blows up, right? It's cool to go back and be like, yo, like I used to be real slept on, like no one cared about me except for like Fivetwenty was there. They supported me before I was this, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just being like, at the top. So yeah, super dope. Shouts out Fivetwenty. They can't say I don't do nothing for them. I'm shouting them out on my show. Let's see. What is
Not gonna lie. So when I was younger, I would say like, you know how we all go through this identity crisis type thing when we're younger.
That's good.
Like, yeah, kind of like you don't want to be like
Friends, indie friends.
Oh, okay.
So
do wonders like AI anomalies.
I know that, right? Saga, who was
on rap on the same beats. You're definitely more lyrical. So like you're not.
I actually knew a guy in Miami that he was going to the same.
And I tweeted like last week that someday I'm gonna have a song with him. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen.